Hi there, Doug from BrainGrid. We've talked in previous videos about Cursor and how Cursor is an IDE that gives you a lot of power by using agentic AI to help you code. Now, one thing that is in Cursor that I haven't shown before is the idea of autocompletes. So here I am, I'm looking at this thing. We've got all these labels and icons, and I want to bug check it. So I need to write some logs. And so I can and it starts filling this in for me, right? And then it's actually going to give me all of the variables so I can see that all of those variables are populated as I'm testing. And so that auto-completed right here, and if I hit tab, it just adds that code right in. So Cursor did that. It read the context of where I was, what I started typing, and maybe what I wanted to put into my console log. The other thing that I've shown with Cursor in other videos is the agentic conversation, the LLM conversations. And here's where we talk with the agents with prompts and it generates code for you. These are the two of the main agentic features that are built into the Cursor IDE. So the IDE is built on VS Code. It looks very similar to VS Code, but these are the two AI features that are included. One of the common questions is, how much does it cost to have a subscription to Cursor? And so we can come to the Cursor pricing page, and there is a free tier. They call it the hobby tier. It's very, very limited in terms of the autocompletes and the agent requests. It's sort of like when you go to the ice cream shop and they give you a little scoop on the end of a spoon to taste the flavor. It gives you a flavor of what's going on, but if you really want to use Cursor, you need to hop into one of the paid. Now, the hobby plan does come with 1 week of, you can get 1 week of Pro free and really dig into the tool. The Pro plan is $20 a month. The tab completions are basically unlimited. The number of agent requests is extended. And you can also start doing background agents where you say, hey, run this in the background while we together work on this other bit of code. And so then the agent can go off in the background, work on that other code while working back and forth on another problem. Now, it is possible that as a pro user, as you use Cursor more and more, you start hitting the limit of the Pro plan, and that's where Pro Plus and Ultra come in. Pro Plus is $60 a month, and it has 3 times the agentic usage with OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. And then the Ultra is 20 times, and you get 20x the usage. If you're a heavy user of Cursor, you may find yourself needing to upgrade to those if you run out of the limits inside the Pro plan. These are all individual plans, which are fabulous if you're working by yourself on a project. As soon as you have a team, the Teams plan is great because it has that centralized billing, that it has the usage, and it has privacy controls. And one of the important privacy controls there is inside Cursor, you can connect MCPs or model context protocols. We have a video on that as well. And that provides the agent access to APIs or to databases to better write code to match things that are external to the code base. If your individual developers have that all inside their individual plan, you have no way to cut them off from that unless you go in and change all of the credentials into your database and your APIs and all of those things. If that's all moderated through the Teams plan and then you give access to your developers, you give yourself a little bit more security on protecting that proprietary data that your company has. As your team grows bigger, you may need the enterprise plan, which offers which is a step up from the Teams plan with more features that are useful to large groups of developers. Now, one thing that Cursor doesn't offer is that spec-driven development. And by connecting BrainGrid and BrainGrid's MCP into Cursor, we can improve the results that come from our prompts because BrainGrid is that spec-driven development that helps you project manage your agentic coding. So instead of just saying, hey, build this, it starts building out requirements documents because a requirements document helps you understand what exactly you are building, what you should add, what you shouldn't add, what's in scope, what's not in scope. And then once you approve that, BrainGrid will actually create tasks for you. So if we look here, we have a bunch of planned requirements. We have one that's completed. We can look at the requirements that came from the chat with BrainGrid. It came up with a requirements document. It came up with some tasks, and these tasks can then be applied by Cursor to do the development. This prompt is a lot more detailed than typically you would type in to the chat window when you're talking with an LLM. And we all know that AIs are sort of garbage in, garbage out. So the more detail you can provide, the more features and requirements and definitions that you can supply in the prompt, the more high quality the code will that comes out on the other side. So building with Cursor enhances and speeds up developer productivity. There's no doubt, because developers working with the AI can code faster. But when you apply BrainGrid on top of Cursor, all of a sudden the prompts that you're feeding into Cursor are better. They're more complete. They're more thorough, which means that Cursor is able to build better features, write better code. The productivity of your development team is accelerated even further beyond what you can get with just Cursor. So Cursor has a lot of pricing features. BrainGrid is a little bit more on top of that, but it's going to accelerate your Cursor agentic development even faster. Thanks for watching.